Today's video is going to be all about using fleece as your main bedding source in your guinea pig's cage. There's some really important points that people often miss out on if you haven't researched about it enough. So I just want to cover all the topics and important things that you need to know if you are going to use this as your bedding. The absolutely most important fact you need to know if you're going to use fleece for your guinea pig's cage is that it must be paired with an absorbent layer underneath or sewn in between two layers. You cannot just use fleece in your cage. It has to be paired with an absorbent layer. Fleece on its own does not absorb anything. So if you are just putting a fleece blanket down in your cage, your guinea pigs are standing on wetness, and that is going to be severe consequences for their health, for their feet, for their skin. It cannot happen. You also cannot use just any fabric in their cage. You can't throw down towels. You can't throw down bed sheets. You need to use this bedding properly, so we're going to go through all the reasons why and how to make this bedding safe for your cages. When you're using fleece in your cage, there are two options. Number one, you can use cage liners, which I absolutely recommend and prefer, or number two, you're going to do a layering system yourself. Cage liners have made that simple because they are two layers of fleece with your absorbent material sewn in between, so they're easier to wash, dry, lay down in the cage very quick. The other way would be taking a plain fleece blanket and layering your absorbent layer underneath, but I find cage liners are worth the money. Right here, this one's from BudgetBunny Shop. It has U-Haul in the center. U-Haul is recycled denim blankets that are actually from the U-Haul store, the moving company. They absorb urine great. What fleece does is lets the urine pass through it, and then it gets soaked into the absorbent layer, keeping this top layer where your pigs are standing on or sleeping on dry. This one here is from Cobb Cabin Crafts. It's two layers of fleece, and in between is Zorb. Zorb is a material used in cloth diapers that absorbs very well. So it's the same thing. They pee on here, it goes through into that absorbent layer. If you were just using fleece, fleece does not absorb anything. So your pigs would be standing on wetness. They're going to get urine scald on their feet, their skin. They'd be smelling the ammonia in urine constantly, having respiratory issues. You cannot just use fleece. So if you're not going to buy yourself cage liners or make your own cage liners, what you're going to have is a fleece blanket, but you're going to be putting something underneath to absorb it. So if you were putting in your cage towels, you would put the old towels down first, and then your one layer of fleece on top. I do not recommend that you put layers upon layers of fleece and then your absorbent layer. One layer of fleece is all you need because you want that urine to pass into the absorbent layer underneath really quick. If you put too many layers, it might get trapped in the fleece and they're going to be standing on wetness. So what you use for underneath could be old towels, puppy pee pads, incontinent pads. You could put the U-Haul down if you just bought a big U-Haul blanket. But whatever you do, you have to have this underneath or you are not going to be absorbing the urine, which is what bedding is for. It's to take away the pee, to get it away from your guinea pigs for their health. So now we're going to talk about what type of fleece you can use for your cages. There are a couple kinds that are just no good and some that are the absolute best to use. What I have this tunnel here made of is a really fuzzy ultra plush fleece on the outside. This is not something you would ever want to use your cage liner as. This fleece is too plush, too high pile for the pee to pass through quickly. It's going to stay wet all on these top fibers here. So you want to stay away from the plushy, ultra fluffy fleece. The kinds that you can use are anti-pill fleece and blizzard fleece. Now the anti-pill and blizzard can easily be found online. Go to Joann's or Hancock Fabrics. Those are some of the main stores that are in the States. We have Fabric Land here in Canada, which kind of stinks most of the time, but if you're wanting to do fleece, get yourself the proper stuff right away. I know some people buy the throw blankets at Walmart and have troubles getting them to wick the urine away, which I'm going to show you next what I mean by that. So anti-pill, Blizzard, those are the most popular. So if you're going to bother to do fleece, get one of those two to start off so that you got the right supplies. So I'm going to do a little demo here. To get your fleece to wick, which means to get it to let the urine pass through it easily, you're probably going to have to wash it 2 to 3 times, sometimes more. It just depends on the fleece. Some fleece has a little bit of a waxy coating on it, which is just going to let the urine pool on top of it. To get it to wash and dry properly, you're going to want to get yourself some vinegar and some all-natural detergent is what I prefer. This is unscented. Really important to have unscented detergent because guinea pigs are highly sensitive to scents. So this one's 99% natural. It's unscented, and then you put a cup of vinegar in your wash load, wash it on warm or hot water, whatever you prefer, and never ever use fabric softener. And then you can hang your stuff to dry, or I always put it in the dryer to just hurry up and get it dried. So we're gonna put a little water on here and you're gonna see how quickly it absorbs into the middle layer, which is the absorbent layer. So obviously your pig's not going to pee this much, but right away it gets soaked in right into that middle layer there. What's going to happen if you have fleece that's not wicking properly or has fabric softener used is all the pee is going to do is pool on top and bead. You see how it's just running around? It's not soaking into anything because this is my own personal blanket that I just use while I'm watching TV. So it's been washed with fabric softener. But you see that? If it's doing this, you are going to have your pigs standing in their own urine, which is detrimental to their health. So you need to make sure your fleece is wicking away properly. Now here I'm going to show you on a towel. This is why you can never just use any regular bedding. You can't just put them on towels or bed sheets. You put that on there. You hear that? It is soaked. As we all know with towels, they just stay soaking wet. So your pig's going to be standing just drenched in pee. Even though it gets absorbed in here, the wetness has nowhere to go. Where fleece, this top layer is staying dry. Like you can't even see where the wet pool went because it's into the U-Haul. So they're going to be standing on here that's dry, and in the center layer is what's wet. So please make sure you use your fleece properly because your piggies absolutely depend on it. So for fleece, remember this is a preference. It's not a must. It is absolutely up to you what bedding you prefer to use for your guinea pigs. Now if you are using fleece, obviously you can tell you're going to have poops that stay on top of it. It's not like a traditional bedding where the poops get mixed in and you don't really have to worry about them. Poops are on top of here that you must sweep up and scoop away at least twice a day. So fleece can be a bit more maintenance that way. And also you're going to have access to a washer and dryer. You take your fleece outside. When you're going to wash it, shake off all the hay and the poops. Then you wash it and dry it. It has to be washed and dried, obviously, for it to be sanitary. I personally adore fleece for large cages because traditional bedding, depending where you live, can be extremely expensive. And with a lot of large cages, I just wouldn't be able to afford it. Where buying some cage liners and spending a bit of money up front, it's worth it in the end, because honestly I've had some cage liners that are 5 years old now and they still work like they were brand new. So you really can't beat it. It's an investment that is so worth it. I'll have links to all the shops that I enjoy below. So just remember, it's up to you what you use, but if you're using fleece for your bedding, you need to use it properly, or else you're doing your piggies a big disservice and you're going to cause them to get ill, possibly sick, and die. Like, it's that serious. You need to be careful what you're using because their health depends on it. So if you have any questions, you can just leave them below. Hopefully this was helpful. See you guys.